Hi everybody, welcome to the Rotary International Convention Peace Exchange Studio Session Brief. I'm Jason and I'm joined by Sandra.
Hello
today.
everyone.
We're going to be talking a little bit about our work in the respective countries that we operate in, and I have the first question. So Sandra, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you Jason.
First question, Sandra, you've worked with a variety of human rights defenders in Guatemala. You have monitored human rights violations with the UN in South Sudan and in Ethiopia. And now you protect women and children from violence across Latin America. When you say you build peace from the ground up, what does that look like in practice? And I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Thank you. Well, when I say building peace from the ground, that means putting communities and its people at the center of everything. That means involving and including them when designing policies or interventions or strategy, also when implementing them, but also when monitoring. So in the practice, that means working directly with communities and the different groups that could be women, like the youth, elderly people, journalists, human rights defenders. So in summary, I will say that building peace from the ground means shifting the power dynamics, putting all the concentration or focus on communities and recognizing that they are not only beneficiaries, but they are also like agents of change.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, of course.
Thank you. So Jason,
Yep.
Your model creates livelihoods on the premise that economic stability builds peace. My work rests on the premise that there is no peace where people's rights and safety are not protected. Where have you seen economic opportunity and human security depend on each other or one fail without the other?
Thanks for that question, Sandra. I would argue that they are intimately connected. So the work that we did in South Africa, we worked in a small town called Makhanda in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. And for those who don't know, South Africa has one of the world's highest unemployment rates, and it is particularly dire with youth unemployment in South Africa. So our model was premised on the idea of what could we do for young people in our community that could provide economic stability and that could provide some level of security for folks. So our model looked at a repurposed storage container. It was actually a storage container that was donated by Rotary in South Africa. It had been sitting empty for a number of years, and we looked to transform this container into a cafe that could support young people and members of the community both earn money, support the after-school programming with our organization, and also provide a safe space for the community to gather. We did that over a number of years. We also created a sewing skills project through a Rotary Global grant that provided unemployed women with opportunities to learn sewing skills, to sell their products, and to earn money to both support the women who engaged in the project and then also to have the money go back to support the project for sustainability. So that's the answer to that. So Sandra, I have another question for you. You witnessed armed conflict up close through your UN monitoring work. What did that experience teach you about what communities need most, and how does it shape your protection work in Latin America today?
Thank you, Jason. Well, after working in conflict and post-conflict affected areas across Latin America, but also Africa, I would say that there are like three main takeaways from my perspective. First of all, that protection is not only about delivering services, but it should include creating conditions for people to feel safe or free enough to go and ask for help. In most of the cases, I have witnessed that, for example, services are there, but people are afraid, people face a stigma, and they also don't believe or don't trust the institution, so they decide that it's better not to report or not to go and tell society or like the government what is happening, what is going on. So in such cases, like mechanisms are there, but people are not are afraid of using them. Like they are not capable of using them for the different reasons. So this is like one takeaway. Second, I must say that in this case, peace building and protection, they are deeply local. What I mean by this is that communities, like local people, they know like what is best for them. they have like their own like local protection structures and mechanisms. They have like local leaders. The community is like very strong. They know what is the best for them. And what I have seen in Latin America and in Africa is that the most effective responses that I have seen are the ones that come from the community within, those that strengthen like local leadership, that listen to survivors, listen to like the people's needs and adapt to the context rather than being imposed from external or outsiders. Thank you,
Sure.
Jason. Now, I would like to ask you, we both came through the Rotary Peace Center's program at Chula, right? What did the fellowship give you that your professional path alone would not have? I have my own answer to this, but I'm curious how this Peace Fellow network shows up in your work now.
Sure. And I will ask you that same question in just a moment.
Okay.
So, I studied at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, Thailand. And I think one of the things that it gave me a few things, but one of the things was it gave me an opportunity to pause. I think that is a very unique opportunity for people who work in this space because you are often chasing the next grant, chasing the next opportunity, figuring out how to keep the lights on, figuring out how to make payroll. And to have a multi-month period around fellow change makers from around the world to sit down and pause and think about, why am I doing this? How could I be doing this better or more completely? And being in a community of people who really get it made a massive difference for me. The other part of the question that you asked is how would it have not turned up, or in your professional path alone, what did you get from Chula that you wouldn't have gotten in your professional path? Again, I think the opportunity to pause. We had guest speakers that joined us from around the world who are experts in their given fields. And to be able to essentially go back to school and learn and listen and engage with people who deeply care about the work that they do is something that most professional paths don't offer, because if you're in a specific sector, often it's the people in that sector, they have very similar sort of professional trajectories. The Peace Fellowship provided opportunity to learn from people from around the world who are working in different spaces. And I'm profoundly grateful for that. It has definitely shaped my experience moving forward. And it has also continued to provide benefit for me. We are in Taipei, Taiwan right now. I'm meeting additional fellows from around the world. So the opportunity to collaborate and be inspired by and with folks has been a profoundly enriching opportunity for me. So that's enough about me. Sandra, I have the same question for you, and I'm going to repeat the question. So we both came through the Rotary Peace Center's program at Chulalongkorn. And what did the fellowship give you that your professional path alone would not have?
Thank you, Jason. I must say that as a humanitarian worker, we are always thinking about the next move. We are just like responding to crisis, to emergency. It's like on a daily basis what you have to do. So you are thinking on a very short term. But then this fellowship gave me the opportunity to take time for myself, to step back and to think, okay, what is the purpose behind what I'm doing? There must be a reason for that. And also, it allowed me to see the bigger picture, because as I said before, in the humanitarian field, you're always like thinking mostly on individual cases or very specific cases. So being at this fellowship gave me the chance to step back and to think in a more collective or systemic way, to think, okay, how can I build peace, but involving different type of actors or agencies at the systemic level. How do we solve conflicts, but in a more systemic way? What needs to be done for change? And I really value this because it's, also as you mentioned, Jason, while I was in Chula in 2023, I met wonderful people, amazing other fellows that they work in different areas, but they are so passionate about the work that they do. And I realized that getting to know each other, learning from their experience, their way to do things, to solve things, also enhance or strengthen my perspective, because we may have different expertise areas, but we also share or have some common challenges, for example. So it was good to listen to others, the way they were responding to the challenges in different contexts, I will say. So that's another thing that I really value for this, like from this fellowship. And yeah, I think these are the two like main takeaways from this.
Fantastic.
So I think this is the last question. So I would like to ask you, Jason, what would you ask a Rotarian in this Peace Park to do, specifically and concretely, to support the kind of community level peace building and protection work we are both doing?
Great. Sandra, I'm going to ask you that same question in just a moment, but I think one of the things that I've taken away from here is doing this sort of work at times, at least for me, can feel really lonely. And being in a community with other people, I think, makes a profound difference for folks that are doing the work, whether it be in South America, in Africa, in parts of Europe, wherever you are. It can feel a little bit lonely sometimes. And I think being in the Peace Park with Peace Fellows, there's an enormous opportunity to both draw inspiration from, to engage with, to find potential collaborations. I think that is the single biggest takeaway that I'm taking from here, is the ability to engage with others, be inspired by others, and recognize that at times it can feel a little lonely, but you are not alone, and that you have an embedded community through the Rotary Peace Fellowship program. That's what I would ask. And as we get into the last question that I'm going to ask Sandra, the Peace Park is now in its 4th year of friendship. This year the Peace Park spotlights the accomplishment of Rotary Peace Fellows and the Rotary Peace Center's program. The conversation is part of the Peace Exchange Studio, and it's a series, as you may know, of 20-minute dialogues, and we're just wrapping up our dialogue today with Sandra. So Sandra, you asked me this question, I'm going to ask you the same. What would you ask a Rotarian in this Peace Park to do specifically and concretely to support the kind of community level peace building and protection work we're both doing?
Well, thank you, Jason. I would say that like the main message is to use your position, your voice, your knowledge, your skill, your inspiration to make a space for community voices to be listened, to be heard. We are here at this convention. We are meeting a lot of people, Rotarians, fellow, a lot of visitors, and I will say that each of us has something specific, has some skills, some knowledge, maybe some position that can be used in order to amplify, to enhance community voices. In the practice, that could mean make a space for like community to be involved in dialogues with decision makers, for example. So in general, I would say yes. Use your voice, your knowledge, the skills, your talent, your inspiration to enhance, to strengthen community voices. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you. It was great talking with you.
It was a pleasure.
And that's
Bye-bye.
Bye.